Hey, lovely people of the internet, I'm Jamie. Let's hang out and watch episode 27 of Free Run. Hey everybody, I'm glad you are here watching with me today. Last episode, we had some pretty phenomenal things going on. We had lots of very interesting battles, of course, the visuals, the music. We had progress. We like progress. I know we had to lose a few people along the way. Sadly, they're not going to get on to the next phase of the exam, but they did a phenomenal job. I think everyone did great that I could see, and I'm thinking about Todd, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck he did. I think he was the last one to be brought out by the golem at the end, but I can't say for sure yet. But we had a whole bunch of people pass to the next phase, and I am really just curious about what the heck that is even going to be, because each time we've been introduced to a challenge, it's been very interesting. It's given us lots of different things to think about. It's allowed us to kind of understand the magic system more in some ways, more so just through the storytelling that we got, but it was still good to know. We got to know a little bit more about Ubel and, her mind and how she functions, which is very interesting. I'm glad that she's aware of her limitations, but also knows, like, hey, when I got this, I got this. And then we got to see that, yeah, Free Run is a lot more powerful than even we realized, and we get to see a lot more than obviously like Fern or any of the others get to see. So yeah, I think that's very cool and also very scary, but we know that we can trust her, and Fern did a phenomenal job, as to be expected. So I did try and rework my schedule. I'm debating between doing anime every 2 weeks, along with, so on that week it would also be a movie, and then on the off week it would be a live action paired with maybe me streaming. So that way I can kind of fit everything in, don't need to rush. But the alternative that I'm debating, so it'll probably change in the future until things stabilize a bit more, but I'm debating potentially is actually going to be doing an anime every week, and then so that'd be on Tuesdays, as it is now, and then on Saturdays it would rotate there between a movie and a live action. So yeah, we'll see. I'm probably going to end up going with that, but I don't know. We will find out, or you will find out in time. It will change eventually. It's just life's been throwing some curveballs my way. So, we got to make do with what we can. And, I'm prone to stretching myself a little too thin sometimes, but it's all because I really want to do all this. But enough about me and all that's going on here. Let's get our housekeeping done so we can get on into the episode. So this video is for commentary and discussion purposes. All rights belong to the original creators, so please support the official release. And if you would like to watch this and any other thing on the channel in its full length, uncut form, that is up on Patreon, including some Patreon exclusives. But alright, it's time. I can't believe we're almost done. Grab your snacks, get settled in, and let's watch more of Free Run.
確かに部の道に果てはない。極意へとまた一歩近づいたな。
Good to know what he was talking about.
教えることはもう何もない。
それ毎日言ってるよね。
I was gonna say, is that not the same thing? And now it's actually Fern instead of Free Run. Oh. Now what? Erupt. Oh gosh. They gotta get their dynamics figured out. At least he wasn't in his room sleeping.
フリーレン様と喧嘩しました。
Oh?
次の第三次試験が最終試験なんだろ？
I
喧
agree
嘩
with
なんか
that.
している場合じゃ。
I wonder what the timeline in between it is.
霊落の応募での戦いで
Oh, yeah.
直しに行きたいとフリーレン様に伝えました。
And she wants you to...
だから古い杖は捨てて新しい杖を買った方がい
But
い。
does it have sentimental value?
粉々だからもう直せないって言っていたぜ。
それでもあれはハイター様からもらった杖
Yeah.
です。
And it is pretty cool.
フリーレンだぜ。悪気があった。
Yeah.
捨てるだなんて発想はありませんでした。
I feel like Fruren's more sentimental than we give her credit for, but...
じゃあラビーネちゃん、なでなでしてあげよっか。
She's gonna be too down to actually fight with you.
やんのか？
Nah, she just needs support.
早くしろ。重症だね。
Yeah.
ん？何その袋。
What you up to?
おい、いつまでいるつもりだ。
落
ちたんだ。もう他人だろ。商売の邪魔だから帰れ。
Still hasn't learned.
わしは今客としてここにいる。
ならさっさと選べ。
Oh my gosh. Her attention can be bought.
開ける。
いらん。
Oh. That was nice of her.
そんな役回りだ。
Yeah.
あの場にいた誰もがそうなる可能性
No,
が。
100%.
こう見えて俺は今最悪な気分なんだ。
それでも店はやるんだな。
Resilience.
人は食っていくために働かなければならん。
I still hope he allowed himself to feel his feelings, though.
お前みたいな老いぼれに3年後はないかもしれないからな。
Hmm.
リヒター、お前は本当に生意気な。権威をバカにし、目的のためなら弱者を足毛にす。
Yeah.
なのにわしはお前に何の剣をも抱いていない。
Hmm.
きっと昔、わしがそういう生意気な若造だったからだ。
So in time, you could be like him.
今は宮廷魔法使いの地位にいる。
You never know where life is going to take you.
そう悲観するなということだ。
Yeah.
今後のお前は今よりずっと強くなっている。
Exactly.
ごめんね。じいさん不器用なんだ。
お前は電圏の何なんだよ。結局何も買ってか。
Yeah, I did notice that. They were both trying to cheer him up in their own ways.
Huh?
I was going to say, is it free run? Yep.
人たちに聞いて回ったんだけど、ここならどんなに壊れた杖でも。
Oh, I couldn't figure out what that was. Okay.
このバラバラの物体は何だ。まさか杖なのか。
Yeah. I mean, we know he's
少しは気分
pretty
が良くなって
talented
いた
and
が
nice
お
underneath
前
it
のせ
all.
いで最悪な気分に逆戻り。
Maybe this will give him something to pay attention to and take his mind off things.
フリーレン、お前は本当に勘に触るやつだ。
You're the one letting them get under your skin.
できないとまで言った。
Interesting. Ah, this is cool.
今日中にできそう。第三次試験には間に合わせたい。
言いやがって。
The fact that he can even do this, though, is really cool and very impressive.
ゴミだなんて言って悪かった。家の行き届いたいい杖だ。さぞかし大事にされていたんだろう。
フェルン、
Yeah, I was gonna
もう帰
say,
ろうぜ。
food is gonna cheer her up to an extent.
フリーレン様は私のことをまるで分かっていません。
I don't know how you could think that after all this time.
だからさ、分かろうとするのが大事だと思うんだよ。
Why does that look like her staff?
ああ、お前。フリーレンとこの。ま、どっちでもいいが、二次試験が終わったばかりだ。今日はお前の師匠のおかげで散々だった。
And yet she still asks me.
そのことを慎重してくれた方が、こっちも儲かるってのにな。
Yep.
フリーレンは感情や感性にと。でも一つだけいいこともあります。
I'm happy we get to see flashbacks with him.
あなたのために思い悩んでくれ
Yeah.
る。
I feel like we've seen that.
なかなかいませんよ。
But again, I know. Emotions. You're a good pair. How many people actually say the things that they tend to say or want in their dreams? Just happens in media a lot. Alright, so it is the third proctor.
何？
いえ、やっぱり何でもありません。
Hmm.
そう。
Interesting music going on.
なぜ私がここまで出向いたか
Oh.
わかるか？全然。
Why? Because of Freerin?
マリカ、都合が悪い時はいつもそうだな。
Hmm.
第二次試験の合格者は12名。
Then she's not happy about that?
多すぎる。全員協力型の試験は大いに結構。
Mm-hmm.
一級魔法使いには協調性がないからな。
面目あり。
Interesting.
フリーレン様ですね。
Is that the guy that saw the pendant
おか
before?
げで実力に見合わないものまで大勢合格した。
I see.
そこまでの無駄死にはさすがに望んでいない。
Well, that's good.
謝る必要はない。すべてフリーレンが悪い。
Okay.
異例には異例を。第三次試験は私が担当する。
Okay.
それに私はフリーレン様を試すような器ではありません。
Hmm.
目見てわかりました。彼女は魔力を制限しています。
Yeah.
絶大な魔力です。ゼイリエ様に匹敵するほどの。
Wow. I mean, that makes sense, though.
この揺らぎは魔力を持った生物である限り消せ
I
るも
mean,
ので
she
はありませ
technically
ん。
does have that. It's just not very often.
途方もない時間が必要でしょう。とても実用的な技術とは思えません。
I mean, we've seen otherwise.
魔族は私たち人類よりもはるかに魔力に敏感だ。
Or Sheila's.
100年や200年制限したところで欺けるものじゃない。
As in, they can detect it easily.
その非効率が相手の隙を生み出すこともある。
Mm-hmm.
この魔法使いの戦いにおい
Why are
て
they showing her feet?
見誤るというのは死に直結しかねない。
It seems super smart to me. I don't know.
それほどまでにフリーレンの魔力制限は洗練されている。 私の知る限り、それをたった一目で見破ったのは魔王だけだ。
Oh, okay.
今この瞬間まではな。レルネ。
Interesting.
偶然です。偶然わずかな揺らぎが見えた。それだけです。
What was the fluctuation?
お前が最初の一級魔法使いになってから半世紀が過ぎた。 お前は臆病な坊やのままだな。
Interesting.
これだけの境地に立っておきながら、追い先はもう
Her
短い。
hair. That's fun.
やはり人間の弟子は取るものではないな。本当に残念だ。
Well, I mean, if you never do it, then of course the ratio there.
私の魔力の揺らぎが。
第三次試験の内容は大魔法使いゼーリエによる面接です。
Interesting.
ゼーリアは私とフェルンを受からせる気はないでしょ。
Mm-hmm.
知り合いなんですか？
昔のね。多分直感で合格者を選ぶ。
It's so interesting that they can live so long, but those feelings can stay the whole time, pretty much. At least for Zira.
未だにゼーリエが望むほどの魔法使いには慣れていない。
He can't. Like, she's not being objective then. Very cool setting. But yeah, if you only take on a certain number of human mages and they just happen to not be what you want, you can't just say that about every single human mage.
一級魔法使いになった自分の姿がイメージでき、魔法の世界ではイメージできないものは実現できない。
Which we have learned.
そうだ。
So learn some confidence.
不合格。
Yeah, I could see that. Could maybe see that. Could see that.
不合格だ。
That's disappointing. Ooh.
フリーレン。お前も一級魔法使いになった自分の姿をイメージできていないな。
I just don't think she cares for it.
お前は私が合格を出すとは微塵も思っていない。一度だけチャンスをやる。好きな魔法を言ってみろ。
Ooh. Yep.
フランメから教わった魔法か。 実にくだらない。不合格だ。
Yeah, there you go. This is so subjective.
愚弄されたのに食い下がりすらしないの。
I mean, I guess an exam is subjective in so many ways, right?
一人の力じゃないよ。ヒンメル、アイゼン、一人でも欠けていたら倒せなく。それならオートにいくらでもいるでしょ。私じゃなくてもいい。
君がいいと思ったんだ。
Why?
全然覚えていない。
だろうね。子供の頃、森に薬草を取りに長い間、夜の森をさまよって、人生で初めて孤独を。もう二度と村に帰れないかと思ったよ。
There she is.
人里の方向を教えてくれた。本当に方向を教えるだけで励ましの言葉一つ口。子供心になんて冷たい人だと思ったよ。
Yeah, that's fair.
そんな不安を感じ取ったのか、それともただの気まぐれだったのか。
Is it? Yeah.
君は僕に花畑を出す魔法を見せてくれた。綺麗だと思ったんだ。
It's so cute and magical.
ヒンメルたちと出会わせてくれたのは、
Yeah.
が教えてくれたくだらない魔法だよ。
I love that.
それから
It's a great tie-in.
ゼルンも同じように不合格にするつもりだろうけれども、多分それはできないよ。あの子はゼーリへの想像を超えるよ。
Even though she's a human mage.
人間の時代がやってきたんだ。
I mean, she is very dedicated.
待て。お前、何が見えている？
The fluctuations?
揺らいでいる。
Yeah.
フェルンとか言ったな。お前、私の弟子になれ。
Oh, God.
嫌です。
Thank you, yeah. I know, I shouldn't have such a reaction, but...
悪いようにはしない。
Would you?
私ならお前をより高みへと連れて行
I
ける。
mean, she's already with someone that can do that.
まだかつて魔法使いがたどり着いたことのないほどの高みへ。
I mean, you didn't train free
それ
run,
は合
so...
否と関係があるのですか？
あるかもしれない。
Well, then I hope you say no. You can still become your own type of first-class mage, just not the title.
ゼーリエがいろいろと言ってくると思うけれども、要求を飲む必要はないよ。フェルンは何を言っても合格になる。
Okay.
私はフリーレン様の弟子です。
There we go. I had no doubts.
私は有望な魔法使いを見逃すほどバカじゃない。
That's good.
合格だ。
A little bit more objective, in a way.
次。
That went by pretty fast. Yeah, that was very interesting. Obviously not very action-packed, but we know there's tons of episodes where that hasn't been the case, and some of those are where the heart lies, right? And I'm definitely going to go back through and give my thoughts. So we start with the old man talking to Stark, and he was talking about the art of war and how it evolves, but that Stark is starting to understand the elements around it. No clue what that's about, but it doesn't seem like Stark does either. I like that this episode was very Fern focused, of course. I'm biased, but I think it's very needed, especially considering that they're taking the exam right now. And I get for the first half of that episode that, again, emotions aren't logical, and when we're feeling hurt, it's very easy to go down that path of believing unhelpful, untrue thoughts just because our emotions tend to give those thoughts a lot more weight. But that's where you kind of have to recognize what you're telling yourself and try to ground yourself a little bit. Take a walk, which she did. So I would hope that would help more with clearing her head. But the other thing to do is to talk to somebody you trust and that, won't steer you in the wrong direction, which Stark, he's gotten a lot better when it comes to mediating between Frieren and Fern. But just, I feel it's so obvious how much Frieren cares about them and that her instincts are very good. Like, even from like pretty much the start, when even Stark joined up, she knew how much potential he had, how much Fern has had, and then let them take on their own villain counterparts because she had faith in them. And then she, she bought the hair clip for Fern, and she's done things for Stark that I can't recall, but I know she has. And yeah, so I think Fern hopefully has a lot more trust in Frieren when it comes to the emotional aspect. I'm glad that we caught up with Reactor as well as with Lavina and Kana. I think it was nice to see those who did pass as well as those who did not, and kind of where their heads are at and how people are trying to cheer them up and how they're, moving on with their lives as best they can. I always really like what Denkin has to say. I'm very much a solution-oriented person and strength-based person, so I think when he was saying in 3 years you're going to have even more ability and skill and intellect, I know I'm putting a lot of words there, but essentially that's the case, that he's going to fly, through the exam within passing colors. What is the phrase? I think it's that you're going to pass with flying colors. Yeah, what is that from? If anyone knows, let me know. I think it was interesting to learn that apparently the first class mages that already are that exist essentially don't get along. You would think that some would, and maybe some do, but yeah, it kind of sucks that they wouldn't. But I feel like when you reach a certain level of status, again, depending on who you are, there's some element of corruption that can go on. A little bit of is it infallible, I think? You can't take me down, I'm better than you, whatever it is. Again, that's a blanket statement, but there's going to be exceptions in there, of course, but I guess what I need to know to counteract that statement is why aren't they getting along? In what ways? I think Frieren, as we know, would have been happy not to take the exam, but she's essentially forced to, or else they won't let them to the north. So, I mean, if they really wanted to get around this, they could have just let her go through, I guess, but, that's not what happened. She's just doing what she needs to do. I think it's interesting what Ziri is saying, that a lot of the people that passed normally wouldn't have if Frieren wasn't there. However, one of the biggest challenges other than Zenza was Frieren, right? It essentially was the big challenge. So if Frieren wasn't there, and they already had Ubel for Zenza, we can't really say how many people were going to pass or not. I'm curious, obviously, as to what Ziria was suggesting about the third exam normally being essentially more bloodshed. So this, in turn, was going to be the anomaly of making it more peaceful, having her proctor the third test. But then that just makes me wonder, what normally is the third test then? Again, I'll try to go back and actually learn the names, but I just watched it. So Lernan, I think was his name, the older gentleman. Yeah, it's interesting we got to see that brief flashback of him passing, or at least being younger and being a first-class mage. But that Ziria still sees him as that timid young man, which, I mean, we didn't necessarily see any different. But it's curious because he seems like he has an interesting ability to be able to sense people's mana. I always mess it up. And yeah, the fact that he was the first class mage is pretty huge. I'm curious what the implications of that are, what he had to go through to earn that title. And I believe it would be Ziria being the one to actually grant that. So yeah, I think that's very interesting. He's a, almost in my head, I know we don't know that much about him, but kind of like a tragic character. Having so much potential, it seems or sounds like, and having a lot of very interesting opportunities presented to him, and yet there's still something limiting him, or himself limiting himself. I'm not sure. Also, if someone can clear this up for me, maybe I should understand by now, because I know they've talked about elements around this before, but when they're talking about mana and the fluctuations, you know, is that a bad thing to have fluctuations? Is it like a fluctuation to the point of like zero capacity, so it's like and then comes back up? How quick or how slow? Like what is the concern here, I guess, or why is it very poignant that they were able to, or only some people seem to be able to notice, at least for Frieren and also for Ziria, the fluctuations that they have? Just to say they're not all powerful, because I mean, yeah, nobody is. And I know I'm biased because I'm watching the show and I'm seeing a lot of the instances where it's been beneficial, but I'm surprised that people in this world haven't seen or found more of a use to learning to conceal their mana. However, as noted, it takes an extraordinary amount of time to actually learn to suppress it to the level that Frieren has and to the skill level that she has. So obviously, if you're not going to live for that long, you're not going to maybe want to dedicate that time to that. But I feel like if you were to really think about it, and depending on how long it does actually take, there could still always be benefits to it, but I could be wrong. Maybe it does take that long to learn, so yeah, a human wouldn't want to dedicate the time to that. Well, I went a few lines further and it talks about centuries, so yeah, that's fair. I'm also curious if we're going to get any flashbacks or story dedicated to when they actually make it to the Demon King, like from the past, because apparently the Demon King was able to see through Frieren's mana deception, so you know, that makes me want to meet him and see what he was about. Sounds like a very powerful, intelligent person, creature thing, demon. There you go. I also realize now, at least I'm pretty sure, that with Zenza putting the coat onto Ziria, that I'm pretty sure we see her hair in the intro fading into Ziria's eyes, I think. So that's interesting. It's not like interesting as in like a big deal or development, but it just like I kept catching that subtly in my head, and I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Because I had no clue. I thought it was like bug antennas, you know? And then I have no clue if people are going to be annoyed at my comments about the objective, subjective part of the exam. And apparently Ziria has like really good intuition, but it's still biased intuition. And I think it's probably spot on for whatever she actually wants, but that's limiting. That's a limited scope. No matter how brilliant, there's so many different things in life that can provide benefit in just different ways. It just depends on what you actually deem important. What is a priority, what is not. So I'm a little bit annoyed about that. However, maybe her instincts were fine. And ultimately for the world, it is better that the people that didn't pass. I can't say, I don't know, but I'm just curious if anyone other than Fern passed. I think the big thing that kind of bugs me the most, I guess, out of this realm of a topic is it almost seems like it's kind of hard to explain. And I think maybe for what Ziria wants the world to be, and obviously she made the rules, I'm pretty sure, you know, so everything needs to fit into those realms, those boxes. But it just kind of feels like when a parent, like this is cliche, but like let's say your parent wants you to become a doctor. It's like, okay, we're gonna put you into these programs and do these things in school, and you know, we're gonna get you to go to this university and all that stuff. And it's like, yes, that's a great thing, and maybe they still want to become a doctor and help people, but it's not in the specific way that their parents want. It doesn't mean it has less value though. It's just not what they want. And even though that thing that they want might be incredible, amazing, woo, it's still, again, forcing someone into something when they could actually do something really amazing, just slightly different than that or completely different than that. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't think it's a black and white topic. I think there's a lot of nuance here for both Ziria and also like my point. But I'm just, yeah, I really want to know people's comments on this because I would love to hear the different perspectives. Because that's what helps me learn, right? That's what helps us learn, is being able to hear what other people have to say with their own expertise, sometimes without, and just kind of getting some more perspective. But I think this falls back to what I had said, I think, in the previous episode. What I had said with Ubel and, you know, killing that proctor, essentially, like, maybe in the real world there's other things and different types of consequences, but in order to get through the exam, you had certain rules and you had to act within those standards and those practices that were put forth. It's the same idea. You know, I can't say it regarding Ubel and then not say that for Frieren. It's just, I guess we weren't quite clear on what the rules were because, again, it is very black or white. Either don't hurt the proctor or you do. But with Ziria, it's, you know, do I think, like, do you fit into my image of what I think a first class mage should be? It's still her rules and her exam, and Frieren has to fit into those boxes. But I just don't know why Ziria wouldn't just put her through as a first class mage. Not for the reasoning in the episode where she said you just can't see it because you don't think there's any way I would let you pass. I'm just wondering why she wouldn't let her pass. Because obviously she is worthy of the title, in my opinion. But I think it's because that's my opinion, right? It doesn't, again, fit into Ziria's box of what a first class mage should look like. And then the end of the episode was really, really wonderful because we got to see Frieren, you know, state, yeah, I didn't do it alone. And it was luck that I met the people I did and that we happened to work out the way we did. And I really loved the flashback with Himmel and seeing how they first met technically and how that led to the series of events that led to them defeating the Demon King and then ultimately to where we are now. And that scene with the flowers appearing, like, yeah, that was magical. We love it. And then the big thing, Fern being able to see Ziria's fluctuations, which even Lernan, I believe the name again is, couldn't. So that's another big thing too. Again, my girl Fern, I love her. She's so cool. And plus she was like, no, I got my teacher. Step back. So yeah, that is episode 27 of Frieren. So I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, feel free to give it a like because that helps support the channel and myself and just helps this video stay afloat in the sea of content that is out there on YouTube. And if you would like to, feel free to stick around and subscribe. There is probably some other things on the channel that you would like as well. But as always, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your day with me. So wherever you are and whenever it is, I hope something good finds you today. So take care and I'll see you around. Bye.